I want to start by saying thank you, God. For me, it's important for me to start by saying thank you, God. It is important because in the state I'm in, as bad as it is as a target video, and if you've been watching my videos, you see me dropping videos over and over and over. It's the same thing. And the truth is, at this point, videos for me have become a way to anchor back into reality. And there is a lot of effort as a target video to try to push me into a state of stupidity that is insane. You hear this news campaign, you hear these sirens. All of that is designed to try to push me into a state of, I'm gonna use the word retardation, but that's the best terms I can use, and it's not working. If anything, it's just feed rage. And they want me to have these ways of thinking, to be, first of all, internalizing the manipulation and not see what this is really about. In this program, I was one of many, especially in TID 2020, who said that this is impacting men, women, and children all around the world. Children are suffering, being abused, and tormented in different terrible ways. And this is clearly a program led by the government. It is diabolical. It is horrible. And this trash not only torture women and children, but then they manipulate the mind in these degrading ways. Now, let me just say this. I've accepted that I'm no longer going to be myself. I haven't been myself since August 19, 2019, and I've understood in 2020 that this is a program that's led by governmental entities. No matter what is visible, the neighbors, the co-workers, the people who you see participating are truly nothing. Sometimes they put a lot of effort to try to actually make you think that this is anything but a massive government that's doing things systematically. It's not a cult. It's not a group of specific individuals doing this. This is just a facade that's presented in order for you as a target individual to be confused. And I refuse to let this low life recreate reality with me. On top of everything, I think this is by design. There's a lot of teenagers participating. I think they want me to start thinking this infantile way. I think they're really trying to use this teenage trashy low life disconnected with reality just because, first of all, they're not adults. So they can push me to think like an idiot. So they can push me to think like a mentally challenged individual. And because these low life retards are not in touch with reality, they expect people to be accepting of the way they want people to think. Now, I know who I am, and never internalize this nasty manipulation that they force me to have today. Today, what they do is they force me to have these experiences that they force other target individuals to experience. They are controlling the mind in degrading ways, and it's torturous. They force target individuals to get sexual arousals in these disgusting ways when you see a child. And then they act like they just caught you doing something that just was experienced organically. With me, they do these things, and then they use things like, they use verbiage that sounds less manipulative, like, we're just mapping. No, you are manipulating the brain the way you design the manipulation to be. This is a design torture that's psychological via technology, advanced technology that can do that. And then they send teenage trash who's supposed to gaslight you, and sometimes they have tantrum because you're not a retard. You're not going to be a dumbass retard to be like, no, we just not. It's like, yes, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in this program. And that's why you don't want to be seen anymore, because you know I recognize what you guys are doing for what you're doing. They slam doors, they do these things and that, and thinking that it's going to make you internalize. And they're like, yeah, no, it's you, trash ass. They're doing brainwashing tactics, utilizing advanced technology that can rewire your brain. The most unoppressive participant can participate. Everybody knows that this programming is controlling the mind. If you're a target individual with V2K and synthetic telepathy, you know these thoughts, this stimulation, this sensation, like your body and your mind is no longer yours. It's being controlled by some trash low life. But on top of that, there's clowns around you that are supposed to gaslight you into internalizing this. And those are the low life the government contract. They are nothing. They are truly the bottom feeders. They just follow the instructions. They are nothings. As much as they try to gaslight you into thinking otherwise. Now with me, they start creating these ways of wanting me to think. Because there's a lot of testimonials that show how diabolical they are. And with me, they wanted me to look at them as the protectors of children. Matter of fact, the justice seekers of children. That happen to be in a program where children are literally being tortured, abused to the point of electrocuting the body, abused to the point of burning genitals, abused to the point of blinding them temporarily, abused to the point where they get cancers and seizures. Very mean things, as they say. And that's why when I see this teen trash, they don't understand. It's like, you're no longer human to me. You're somebody who live day in and day out to cover up and negate these things so you can paint yourself as the protectors and avengers of children. It's okay. This trash the future doesn't look good for them. They're just flourishing in this sufferance, which is what a way to live. I pray that they continue to live life like this. I don't envy them. I rather go through my sufferance and be watched suffering than live life like this slow life. I've made sure that they don't live a fantasy and deal with reality. They burn children. I rather get burned to be involved than be involved in something that is remotely connected to this. They zap the genitals of children. I rather get castrated than be remotely connected to anything that does that. They temporarily blind children. I'd rather get my eyes pulled out of my eye socket than being connected with something that tortures children. This low life here, with me, they want to make me think of, but with you, it's fate. You deserve that. I'm like, okay, so the people involved in the program that torture children in this diabolical thing, in the diabolical program, will tell me what I deserve. So what do you deserve, you low life? And nothing like you, who just love the fact that you're involved in a program that can control the life of people. This unimpressing trash talking to me. Their sole job is to be a wall of pure retardation. You know, I love how they try to recreate these things that happen to me as if they're the one who are the reason it's happening is because of them. It's like, no, you just happen to work for a program that tortures children, and you're involved in this program, and I'm in this program, and so you're doing that to me because you're in that program that torture women and children too. This is not something different. You're not going to redesign this fun that you enjoy. And as before the last, I've been saying that so many times that if this trash delude themselves, and you see how pathetic you see these people there. You see those looking over there. You should see that some of them are even worse. So the most unimpressive low life. It's funny with me, they even use little grandmothers and things like that. And in this program, they try to create a facade and psyop. First of all, the most disgusting part here is the psychological game they have. They try to make target individuals who are women with children feel like they deserve what's happening to them. So this is nothing unique. So they're doing the same thing, but to me. But if they do that to women, some of these women have been raped. Some of these women were abused as children. Some of these women have children. Some of these women are, being told to kill themselves. This is what these trash are part of. I'm not going to let these fuckers live that fantasy. And now, one of these purpose, because they use this teenage trash, and they gamify this whole thing. It's like a game. In some cases, teenagers participate in the mockery of children being tortured, who are the children of the target individual. The reason why they do that is because they want to break the woman, who is the mother, and the TI, psychologically. And so I've accepted this, that this teenage trash are that. They're this low life. But they wanted to do these horrible things in this fantasy. So for me, what they've been trying to paint it as is, oh, we joined this thing, we participate in this thing just to make you pay because you deserve it. And we're gonna focus on you. And we're gonna focus on you for what you did with Courtney or Brittany, and then like, oh, but what you remember what you when you were a kid, and just try to exaggerate. That's abuse. I'm like, you're a bunch of retard trash. You think I'm gonna allow this? What they want me to think, and this is a psychological game they're playing. So, because when you bring up all the things they do to women and children, it kind of ruins the whole facade. That's really important, because the facade is supposed to make me internalize this manipulation. Because if you recognize these people, they torture children, they blind children, they do all these things to women. Those are the same people who, when they manipulate you, want you to be like, no, we're not manipulating you, we're mapping. Yes, the people who are known to literally abuse children and torture them are not doing these typical things they're known to be doing to target individual. So you see how it kind of ruins the whole facade that is needed to make somebody internalize this? This is part of the psychological game. And I think some of them is because of cognitive dissonance. They still want to walk around like they're normal people. Instead of like, oh, some target individual will kill you. Because not only you are doing these things to us, but they know that you're involved in something that torture and abuses children and women. And if this is war, you're part of the war that tortured children and women. And so I can kill you. And they don't want you to see them like that. They want you to, and sometimes how they do it is like they overcompensate with like rage. Oh, we're so mad. It's like trash. You're so mad because I know you torture babies. And that's what you're involved in. And yes, you as a child spend time covering that up. So to me, you're no longer a human being. To me, you can't be near me to try to even talk to me. You might be in trouble. You're the foulest human beings, and they're so insignificant too. I don't want to put weight on who's interacting with me because I know they're nothings. It's like arguing with a mentally retarded individual. But for me, they're still going to be accountable for what they're really part of. You know what they wanted to be is like, I'm accountable for what I'm part of doing this to you. I was like, you can do nothing to me unless you're part of the program that torture women and children. So you're accountable for being involved in something that you know torture babies, blind them. I don't care if you partake in this or not. Some have, some haven't. But you're accountable to be involved in this. I'd rather have my eyes ripped out of my eye socket than be connected to anything that electrocute genitals of children. And negate that to maintain the facades of child protectors. They were trying to create this mental battle because, unfortunately, target individual, psychologically, we get tormented. But some people start normalizing being a target individual. To never normalize that. It's not normal. To never normalize this thing. This is not a norm. If you normalize that, they won. They want you to think that it's normal to be... They want to normalize this thing. That it's normal to be doing these things to people. Like this is normal things. Unfortunately, some target individuals seems to have fallen into that. Being a target individual should not be happening. You choose to participate in a program that you know what you joined. And this is a governmental program. Please don't think this is some call doing this and that now. This trash around you, their sole life is to try to make you believe that this is something normal. This is something you... There's a target individual a while ago. She was talking about, oh, she wasn't getting along with some target individual. It's like, oh, I see why some target individual are target individual because they would have been perps. And when she say perps, meaning she'll be participating in what this perps do to target individual. And this perps start using this. And the perps, when we say perps, we mean the people involved in this. These perps are like, they use that as like, oh yeah, like you see, like you deserve it. You would have been a perp. It's like so I would have been you. You mean? I would have been doing what you do. I would be doing those nasty things you guys do. The not fair things, right? It's retarded trash. To try to use that, oh yes, you see, you would have been what would. That's how stupid this trash are. That she sees, this target individual that she doesn't get along, which I don't know, they have like their own, but the community of target individuals, sometimes I understand that things can go left and right because we're not fully stable and mentally anymore. We're being tormented, and they do things to kind of rub people off the wrong way in the sense of like tormenting target individual. We're not stable. It's hard to be a calm, collected person when you have all these things happening to you. And so I can understand there's going to be some confrontations of some sort. But to use that statement to feel validated, and I'm talking about they as these perps, is amazing. But they use a lot of childlike individual. Like I said, there's a wall of retardation around me. These childlike individuals are supposed to push me into a state of retardation. And this is the reason why I say thank you, God, I never had the option to become a purpose like them. Thank you, God. Thank you. I rather suffer in hell. And this trust is like, no, you see, yeah, because like you deserve it. It's like, what do you deserve, perp? And the reality is they know that putting their faces now make them eat the reality that they are involved and they're going to be accountable for what they're part of. I'm one of so many. And you are nothing. And the only reason this is happening to me is because I was put in a program where they torture women and children. You are just a default trash that comes with this thing. You're nothing. You're part of this program that torture women and children. Who destroy and kill me is whoever put me in this program, and I know who it is. You just come with that. If it wasn't me, it would be somebody else. Maybe a woman, maybe a child, maybe a woman with a child. I'm here, so it's me. Some of these perps have done that to women and children. Those doing that to me. And I remember being told this thing and I didn't even believe it. Because they felt insulted that I couldn't believe that somebody else can experience. So somebody, actually, that's what it was. They said, it's like people way more innocent, we're doing that to people more innocent. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. They'll tell me that via V2K. It's like, oh, you think you're so innocent? We do this to people more innocent than you. And I couldn't even believe that. And the reason why they tell me is like who you think you are. You think you're so like innocent and all that. We do that to people way more innocent than you. And I couldn't understand what they're saying. Then realizing, oh, you talk about children and women? Trash. So to these little perps, I'm going to be very wise. I promise you. I'm going to be very wise. You make that mistake, I'll be the wisest man you can imagine. For Deborah and her child and her daughter, for Bertha and her child, for Catherine Nestor and her young child, for Mariana seeing these children like that, for this woman in Boston seeing her child being electrocuted. I promise you, I don't care who you focus on, it's going to be reality dealt with. I will never internalize this manipulation. I know that you're not here avenging anybody. You're involved in a program that does so much horrible things to children. You have to focus so hard on me. Matter of fact, they're not just focusing. They are literally calling themselves the negators to negate how mean they are to children and women. And I know that this trash will try to paint themselves as those justice seekers and even use what this woman said about another targeting vigil or other targeting vigil. They say, oh man, I see why they're targeting vigil. If they weren't targeting vigil, they would have been perps. And these perps are like, oh, you see, just like you. It was like, so you mean if I wasn't a targeting vigil, I'd be with you, working with you? Retard trash. I'll be doing the same thing you do. I'll be like, not fair. I'll be executing people, even children. Trash. And that's why I'm so thankful too, by the way. I don't even, listen, who participate in this? I've seen people for all walks of life participate in that, even though that to women and children. There's doctors refusing rape kits to women. These doctors, women doctors, are perps. I am so thankful I didn't even get the option to be involved in this. I don't care. To be involved in a program that I don't care. Be connected to that, never. And then the worst would be if I presented myself as a justice seeker, protector of children in a program where I know they're executing children, and I try to negate that because I know it's happening. And be like, oh, we're just men. Never. And be like, no, you pay for Courtney, for Brittany, when I know there's hundreds of thousands of women just getting their genitals grilled up, tortured, pushed to suicide. And be like, no, it's just not fair. We're women. The worst part is being those female perps that now know that I really know that's the facade of feminism. It's not even feminism, but just female gender is utilized to, especially on targeting vigil. On targeting vigil who are female. One way they like to break down the targeting vigil who is a female is utilizing female perps. Because having female perps participate in that is even more psychologically destructive to a target individual who is a woman. If you see your co-gender individual involving themselves in that, doing this thing, behaving this way, it is more breaking than see a male doing that. So they utilize that to the fullest onto this female target individual. Some of these female target individuals believe that what's happening to them, sometimes they believe it's a cult or whatnot. Think it's ran by female abusers. They think that whoever is doing this, is organizing this, are female. Just because in front of them is presented to them with a lot of female, I think they're supposed to see those female and think, oh, if women are treating me like that, then I deserve this as a woman. So when I hear this trust, like, yeah, for Courtney, fuck you. You will destroy the life of Courtney like this other woman. Or you'll focus so hard to negate whatever suffering she will go through if she was in this program. You don't care about Courtney. You don't care about Brittany. You're using these people to try to cover up the reality that you're involved in a program that torture women in such a diabolical way. Who knows how many have killed themselves? Who knows how many of them are suffering? But listen to the sufferings of these people. You're going to hear Bertha and her child and Deborah and her daughter In the case Target Individuals versus Garland in Texas, suing the government in order to stop what's happening to them. You're going to hear Catherine Nestor and a young child, and you're going to hear the sexual tortures that other Target individuals have called out. You're going to hear this black woman talking about her children feeling zaps on their body. I don't care what these clowns try to recreate with me. They're like, no, this is the portal. That's a different portal. Trash ass. Doing like basic gaslighting methods. Like, no, us, we're just so different. They're not different at all. They're exactly the same program. You try to gaslight me like a child. Because they don't want to be connected to what they're part of. Because what they're part of does these things to children and women. Listen to this.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain.
Yeah. So, we've spoken a few times. I'm going through the same thing. Our situations are a little different. So I have the full-blown artificial telepathy. You're definitely receiving broadcasts because I've seen it in your photos. And, isn't it strange that sometimes you could feel some type of way that's not your feelings?
Yeah, they do that a lot. Can project anger, fear, and weird feelings. They can do pretty much anything that has access to the brain or to the mind.
Right.
Not just me, but I have children, and so my children are able to say certain things, like they can feel certain things.
Right.
zaps on their body. So it's a really good thing.
Careful and transparent without endorsing the claims or adding detail beyond what is already publicly reported. I also need to stay within safety boundaries regarding minors, so I will describe what mothers say in non-graphic terms, exactly as the claims are typically stated. Clear answer first, yes. In public TI narratives, some mothers explicitly claim that they have witnessed children showing acute distress involving their genital area, clutching themselves, crying or screaming, marks, redness or heat-associated skin changes noticed during diaper changes or bathing, pain reactions that the mother interprets as external harm rather than routine irritation or illness. These claims are unverified, not supported by medical or legal findings, and rejected by courts when raised in lawsuits, but they are described by the mothers as real, alarming and urgent. I am reporting what is claimed, not asserting causation or accuracy. How these claims are usually described, non-graphic, verbatim style. Across videos, letters and testimony shared online, mothers often say things like, "My child was screaming and holding themselves like they were in pain. I noticed redness or marks that felt hot to the touch. This wasn't diaper rash, it appeared suddenly. My child reacted like they were being burned. They cried in a way I'd never heard before. Doctors didn't find anything, but I know what I saw." Some mothers emphasize the timing felt sudden. The child couldn't explain what was wrong. The mother felt panic, guilt, and fear. Again, this is their interpretation of what they observed. How common are these child-focused claims? They are not the majority of TI claims, but they are not isolated either. Patterns observed across TI spaces: adult-only suffering, most common; parent claiming child is understood. I'll paraphrase only, keep it non-graphic, and stay strictly within what the complaint alleges, without adding or interpreting beyond the text. I'll also clearly mark these as paraphrased passages. Paraphrased passages from the complaint, Targeted Justice Inc. et al. V's Garland et al., focused on the two mother-child plaintiffs, Berta Jasmine Della Torre, paraphrased, on herself. She states that she is being continuously monitored and targeted by what she believes are advanced electromagnetic or directed energy systems. She alleges that this targeting causes her mental anguish, fear, and distress, which she experiences as deliberate and ongoing. She claims to suffer physical sensations and pain that she attributes to this alleged technology. She asserts that government agencies are either directly involved or knowingly allowing this to occur. She states that attempts to seek help have been ignored or dismissed, which she interprets as further proof of targeting. On her minor daughter, she claims that her minor child is also being targeted by the same alleged technology. She alleges that her daughter experiences physical discomfort and distress that cannot not be explained by ordinary causes. She states that the child's symptoms cause her serious fear for her daughter's safety and long-term well-being. She alleges that no authority has taken steps to protect her child from what she believes is ongoing harm. On herself, she claims that she is subjected to non-consensual surveillance and experimentation using advanced technology. She alleges that this causes psychological suffering, including fear, anxiety, and emotional trauma. She reports experiencing physical effects and pain, which she attributes to the alleged targeting. She states that these actions are intended to control, intimidate, or silence her. On her minor daughter, she alleges that her minor child is also affected by the same targeting she experiences. She claims the child suffers from physical pain, distress, or unexplained symptoms. She expresses fear that the alleged exposure could cause lasting harm to her child. She asserts that government entities have failed to intervene or protect her child. Important clarifications, critical. These passages are paraphrased summaries, not verbatim quotes. The complaint states beliefs and allegations, not verified facts. The lawsuit does not provide medical, forensic, or technical proof of the claims. The court dismissed the case and the allegations were not substantiated. Why courts view these allegations as serious but unproven? From a legal and clinical standpoint, claims involving hidden technology, family-wide targeting, and children being harmed are treated as expressions of severe perceived threat, not what is claimed, not endorsing it, and not minimizing how seriously the mothers themselves experience it. Short, clear answer: yes. In some TI narratives involving mothers and children, there are claims that the mother has observed teenagers or young people whom she believes are perpetrators, and that these individuals are laughing, mocking, or visibly amused while the child is perceived to be suffering. These accounts are unverified, not supported by evidence, and not accepted by courts or professionals. But the belief itself does appear in a subset of mother-focused TI narratives. How these claims are typically described, as reported, in first-person videos, letters, or posts, some mothers say things like, "They were laughing while my child was crying." Teenagers were nearby, smirking, like they knew what was happening. They enjoy seeing the suffering. They laugh to make it worse. It's psychological torture. They want me to break. The mother often interprets laughter, whispering, looking in their direction, teenagers congregating nearby as intentional signals, not coincidence. Do these mothers believe the laughter is deliberate and strategic? Yes, within the belief framework. Mothers who make these claims often believe the perpetrators are aware of the harm. The laughter is meant to increase the child's distress, increase the mother's fear and rage, provoke a reaction. Which is a high-risk area. I will describe the claims as they are reported, without endorsing them, without graphic detail, and without minimizing the distress, and I will be explicit about what this signals from a mental health standpoint. Short, direct answer: yes. There are self-identified mother TI accounts in which women claim they are experiencing disturbing, unwanted internal reactions even when seeing their own children, and they interpret this as deliberate mental torture meant to break them psychologically. These claims are rare but documented within TI testimonial spaces, unverified and unsupported by evidence, universally treated by clinicians as a severe mental health red flag. You are not imagining that these accounts exist. How these claims are described: reported perspective, non-graphic. In these testimonials, mothers often say things like, "This is the worst thing they've done to me. They're trying to destroy me as a mother. I know this isn't me. They force reactions I would never want. They want me to feel evil and ashamed." This is how they break you. Key features of how mothers frame it. The reactions are described as unwanted, intrusive, and horrifying. The mothers express intense shame, fear, and self-disgust. They emphasize love for their children and terror at what they're experiencing. They believe the purpose is psychological annihilation, not physical harm. Crucially, open quote, these mothers are not describing desire or intent. They are describing ego-dystonic, intrusive experiences that they find unbearable, close quote. How common is this specific claim? This is not common, but it does recur in later stage TI narratives, accounts involving extreme distress, stories where humiliation and identity destruction are central themes. When it appears, it is usually accompanied by sleep deprivation, panic, intrusive thoughts, fear of being labelled dangerous, withdrawal from others, repeated reassurance seeking. It is one of the most severe claim types found in TI narratives. What this signals clinically, very important. From a mental health perspective, without invoking any external mechanism, this pattern strongly aligns with well-documented psychiatric phenomena, including intrusive thoughts or sensations that are unwanted, ego-dystonic, this is not me, terrifying to the person, severe anxiety, OCD spectrum conditions, trauma responses, or psychotic spectrum distress, identity threat reactions where the person Yes, There are other testimonials in online TI spaces where individuals, often female, describe negative or hostile interactions with female doctors or other healthcare providers, including claims that they were treated dismissively or disrespectfully, their concerns were minimized or mocked, serious symptoms were not taken seriously, requests for tests, including sexually related exams, were refused or discouraged, they felt they were treated as less than, rather than helped out. These types of accounts are common in TI communities, particularly on social media platforms where people share their experiences in long form. Below is a claim-only summary of the language and situations that appear in similar testimonials, strictly reporting what people say, not validating the claims. Common patterns in testimonials about doctors and medical encounters. 1. Claims of dismissive or disrespectful behaviour. Female TIs often describe interactions like, "She spoke to me as if I wasn't a real patient. I felt belittled in front of staff. She acted like I was crazy or imagining things." These reflect a perceived tone rather than specific medical notes. 2. Reporting that requests were refused. Many say that when they asked for specific tests, scans or diagnostics, a rape kit, specialist referrals, the response was interpreted as denial without explanation, judgment about the request, refusal tied to perceived mental health instead of physical symptoms. They describe it with phrases like, "She refused to help me unless I accepted therapy. I asked for a sexual assault exam and was turned away. It was like my pain didn't matter." 3. Interpretation of denial as part of targeting. In TI narratives, refusal or dismissal is often framed as intentional dismissal to cover up harm, part of a broader conspiracy, evidence that professionals don't want to see the truth. Paraphrased language seen in testimonies. Not acknowledging it proves they know. The refusal was the proof I was being targeted. Female doctors as particularly judgmental. Some female TIs specifically emphasize the gender of the provider. "She looked at me like I was nuts. Her attitude was dismissive because I brought up symptoms she didn't understand. It felt personal." This is framed in their narratives as social invalidation, moral judgment, gendered dismissal. 5. Emotional impact and isolation. These encounters are often described in emotional terms. Feeling shame or embarrassment, reluctance to seek help again, belief that professionals are part of or influenced by the targeting.
I could not have asked for a better family. What you cannot comprehend is that we have been attacked by this weapon our entire lives, and the attack against me personally is one of the most vicious attacks a human being has ever faced. I have tolerated the most inhumane torture in hopes that the FBI and CIA would come to my defense, but they have failed to come to my aid. My only hope is that you come to understand what has happened here. When the world realizes what has happened, there will be justice, but I cannot sit by and be a victim any longer, and I refuse to sit by and do nothing while my nieces and nephews and the rest of my family are operated on with mind control. Our thoughts are not private. It is disgusting and it is cruel. I will be launching the first counterattack against mind control in human history. I want to be very clear, this will not be an active shooting event. I will be executing some of the people responsible for activating shooters. If I happen to survive, please visit me in prison, if only to see the same man you have always known, rather than the victim of some mental disorder that does not exist. What you may not understand is that I will gladly die to expose this, and I will gladly die to help one other victim discover the truth of what has happened. If I can help another targeted individual fight back against telepathy, then the sacrifice will be well worth it. To any TIs who read this, understand that your attackers use the form of ventriloquism I describe in the paper to move your thoughts, but your thoughts can also move their mouths. To my friends in Chicago, Lexington, Dayton, and all over the world, get this email out to everyone you know. The most horrific weapon ever made is being used on human beings, and if you ever learn the truth, you will understand what I did here to protect myself and my family. Get this out to other TIs, other voice hearers, so the world
You're do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. You can call it a eugenics program even. But also walk them to their, they want to see if they can, hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language, throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that. Well, you can't control me. I have my own free will.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
it is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa.
They use these monarch-style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you. They're gonna use your libido to get back at you, and
this technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
Experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and form of torture. They coordinate the voice. I really mean extreme. I experienced an entire night with forced spontaneous orgasms repeatedly all through the night, one right after another, with maybe around 1 hour of sleep or so, as I lay immobilized in my bed.
In my mind, I can hear my own voice. I told them I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to me and my family. Ben said the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ass. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them I able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
Be my guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly. It's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can,
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds.
Personalities.
And it's like Chinese torture. I mean, okay.
Teenagers do appear in TI testimonies, including female-gendered teens, and I'll describe this as it is reported without endorsing it and without minimizing how it's experienced by the person making the claim. Short, direct answer, yes. In some TI narratives, including those told by women, there are claims that teenagers, sometimes specifically teenage girls, are involved as participants or perpetrators, often described as having attitude, mockery, or hostile demeanor. These claims are unverified, unsupported by evidence, and not accepted by courts or professionals, but they do recur in testimonial content. How teenage involvement is described as reported. When teenagers are mentioned, TIs often describe behaviors such as laughing, smirking, or whispering nearby, eye-rolling, staring, or mean-mugging, sarcastic tone or dismissive comments, sudden loud noises, laughing, shouting, door slams, clustering in groups, and reacting when the TI appears distressed. In narratives involving female-gendered teens, the behavior is often framed as socially humiliating, mocking rather than overtly threatening, knowing or on cue. The TI interprets this as intentional signaling, not coincidence. What the TI believes this implies within the claim framework. Within these accounts, TIs may believe that teenagers are used because they can be cruel or mocking. Their reactions are meant to increase humiliation. The casual or playful attitude makes the distress feel minimized or ridiculed. Female teens are used to intensify shame, especially for female TIs. Some paraphrase statements you'll hear. They laugh like it's a joke. Teenage girls look at me like they know. They enjoy seeing me uncomfortable. It's meant to humiliate me. Again, this is the interpretation, not evidence. How common is this specific claim? Less common than claims involving adult neighbours or co-workers. More common in later stage or high distress narratives. Often appears after prolonged anxiety, sleep distress. Careful and transparent without endorsing the claims or adding detail beyond what is already publicly reported. I also need to stay within safety boundaries regarding minors, so I will describe what mothers say in non-graphic terms. exactly as the claims are typically stated. Clear answer first, yes. In public TI narratives, some mothers explicitly claim that they have witnessed children showing acute distress involving their genital area, clutching themselves, crying or screaming, marks, redness or heat-associated skin changes noticed during diaper changes or bathing, pain reactions that the mother interprets as external harm rather than routine irritation or illness. These claims are unverified, not supported by medical or legal findings, and rejected by courts when raised in lawsuits, but they are described by the mothers as real, alarming and urgent. I am reporting what is claimed, not asserting causation or accuracy. How these claims are usually described, non-graphic, verbatim style. Across videos, letters and testimony shared online, mothers often say things like, "My child was screaming and holding themselves like they were in pain. I noticed redness or marks that felt hot to the touch. This wasn't diaper rash, it appeared suddenly. My child reacted like they were being burned. They cried in a way I'd never heard before. Doctors didn't find anything, but I know what I saw." Some mothers emphasize the timing felt sudden. The child couldn't explain what was wrong. The mother felt panic, guilt and fear. Again, this is their interpretation of what they observe.
I could not have asked for a better family. What you cannot comprehend is that we have been attacked by this weapon our entire lives, and the attack against me personally is one of the most vicious attacks a human being has ever faced. I have tolerated the most inhumane torture in hopes that the FBI and CIA would come to my defense, but they have failed to come to my aid. My only hope is that you come to understand what has happened here. When the world realizes what has happened, there will be justice, but I cannot sit by and be a victim any longer, and I refuse to sit by and do nothing while my nieces and nephews and the rest of my family are operated on with mind control. Our thoughts are not private. It is disgusting and it is cruel. I will be launching the first counterattack against mind control in human history. I want to be very clear, this will not be an active shooting event. I will be executing some of the people responsible for activating shooters. If I happen to survive, please visit me in prison, if only to see the same man you have always known, rather than the victim of some mental disorder that does not exist. What you may not understand is that I will gladly die to expose this, and I will gladly die to help one other victim discover the truth of what has happened. If I can help another targeted individual fight back against telepathy, then the sacrifice will be well worth it. To any TIs who read this, understand that your attackers use the form of ventriloquism I describe in the paper to move your thoughts, but your thoughts can also move their mouths. To my friends in Chicago, Lexington, Dayton, and all over the world, get this email out to everyone you know. The most horrific weapon ever made is being used on human beings, and if you ever learn the truth, you will understand what I did here to protect myself and my family. Get this out to other TIs, other voice hearers, so the world...
Narratives. I'll answer transparently, claim first, and non-graphically without endorsement. Short, direct answer, yes. Some female TIs do claim that perpetrators frame them with illegal pornographic images as part of a gaslighting and discrediting strategy. And some explicitly claim female participants are involved in facilitating or reinforcing this framing. These claims are unverified and unsupported by evidence, but they are reported in TI testimonies. How female TIs describe this claim, as reported non-graphic. Female TIs who make this claim often say they believe illegal images are planted on their devices or accounts. The purpose is to make them appear immoral, criminal, or dangerous. The images are meant to invalidate their credibility if they seek help. Discovery or threat of discovery is used to terrorize and silence them. They emphasize the material is not theirs. They did not seek it. Its presence feels deliberate and coercive. Claimed role of female participants, as reported. In these narratives, some women claim that other women are involved by gaslighting. This says something about you. You know why this is there. Moral shaming or insinuation. Reinforcing the narrative that the TI is deviant or untrustworthy. Acting as social validators of the false framing. Female involvement is believed to make the accusation feel more believable, intensify shame, force the TI to doubt herself, pressure acceptance of the imposed identity. What female TIs believe the goal is Within their framework, they believe this tactic is intended to destroy reputation and credibility, prevent them from reporting harassment, create fear of law enforcement or institutions, force acceptance of a false degrading identity, make denial look like guilt. They often describe this as one of the most terrifying claims because it threatens social annihilation.